Doubles and Coffee, interesting joint select committee meeting yesterday on land and infrastructure and so on. The minister in the office of the Attorney General tried to suggest, I am the member that she's talking about, that I misled the joint select committee by stating that the minister never said that she wasn't aware of the increase in penalties that was laid out, all of them that were laid out by the Minister of Finance in the budget. But let's go back. She said to check the Hansard and the record. I've done one better. Let's check the video record of her question to the members of the Ministry of Agriculture, what she stated about the fines, quoting the act and talking about $20,000, and then listen to the Ministry of Agriculture in response to the Honorable Minister's question, and you decide for yourself. Girl, you's a real lawyer. I's just a bush lawyer, and you can't beat me? You lost the file or what? You lost the file with the legislation? Ma'am, stay in your lane, eh? You're able.
But if we, for example, go to the Forest Act again, Section 7(1) of the Forest Act, it creates a penalty of $20,000 alone for the removal of timber, right? Why I'm bringing up this issue is that inherent in the existing legislation, let's say the Forest Act, for example, and considering where you sit, do you believe there may be a necessity to review the legislation now, and perhaps with an eye to reviewing penalties for said offenses, and looking, of course, at proportionality in accordance with the offense? Because, in the grand scheme of things, proportionality in determined to the offense, the amount someone is required to pay, that must be weighed in accordance with the offense that they have committed. And to my mind, just from a legal perspective, I find that, 20,000, for the average man, it may sound like a lot, but someone who is in the business of illegal timbering and so on, 20,000 is really like a little slap on the wrist, and you could have a repeated offense. Do you believe, especially as it relates to penalties throughout various pieces of legislation, there may be a need to review those penalties with the intention of at some point bringing legislative reform with the intention of increasing penalties and so on, and whether or not you believe also that could play a considerable role in the deterrence and deterring persons from engaging in these offenses?
Thank you again, and again through you, Chair and Member, really an excellent question. The reality is that when the Minister of Finance read the last budget, he had indicated that he's going to review the fines and penalties for illegal timbering. That's the exact terminology the minister used. And he was looking at raising those fines to $100,000.
Good afternoon. I want to commend the Ministry of Agriculture. It seems like they've moved the Office of the Attorney General to the Ministry of Agriculture, because the Ministry of Agriculture said that the Honorable Minister of Finance said that they would raise the fines up to $100,000 for various offenses and so on. And I was a bit shocked that the minister in the Office of the Attorney General was unaware of that, and the budget was read some 5 months ago.
So it was just really a comment I wanted to make, Chair, just to clear the record. Chair, if through you I can just clear the record about a comment that was made by one of the members of the committee relative suggesting that this had to do specifically, Chair, with when I spoke to the Ministry of Agriculture relative to the point of penalties, and there was a suggestion by one of our committee members that suggested for some reason that the minister in the Office of the Attorney General was unaware of certain fees and penalties and the proposed increase to 100,000, just for the purpose of of course, the listening and viewing public, and of course, as a matter of clearing the record. I want to respectfully suggest, one, that the member probably need to, have a look at the Hansard record of this particular meeting, because there was no suggestion at all, Chair, by myself suggesting that I was unaware of the fees, one, and two, Chairman, of course, I'm very much familiar with Act number 21 of 2022, which would have increased several pieces of which would have increased several penalties in various pieces of legislation, one of which, of course, was the Forest Act. But if we, for example, go to the Forest Act again, Section 7(1) of the Forest Act, it creates a penalty of $20,000 alone.
The reality is that when the Minister of Finance read the last budget, he had indicated that he's going to review the fines and penalties for illegal timbering. That's the exact terminology the minister used. And he was looking at raising those fines to $100,000.
So it is just to dispel and to clear the record on the suggestion made by the member that suggests that the Minister in the Office of the Attorney General was unaware of that increase in penalties, because of course this is a recorded JSC. So I just wanted to jump in briefly and just clear that record, Chair, and again thank the Ministry of Agriculture.
And there you all have it, Senator Sagramsingh-Sooklal. You learn from Lymore very well. You are well trained under Reginald Lymore. You see, you went at the onset to quote from the Forestry Act and talk about 20,000, and then spoke about proportionality and asked the Ministry of Agriculture, what do they think about that? Should there be an increase? Please give us your opinion and so on. Then you come back after you went and read an hour later, 1 hour and 2 minutes. Sorry, let me do a lie now. 57 minutes later, somebody come and tell you, but no, Minister, look, we changed it, we amended it in 2022, and you come and talk about, about the Forestry Act amended in 2022 to 100,000, but you didn't know that 57 minutes before. Madam Minister, not looking good. And yes, the member who called you out went and checked the Hansard because it's for the record. Now, do you have the class to apologize, to say that you erred, to admit you made a mistake? Don't worry, I won't hold my breath, but don't play the Douglas. You just come attorney, all your PNM not bright enough. You're just like Al-Rawi and you're just like Lymore. When your mentors are dotish, no matter how bright you may have been, you somehow get just like them.